So hi guys, and welcome to another Python tutorial video. This is probably going to be my last video in the Python series because I think I've covered most of the typical Python topics. But if you have a topic that I didn't cover that you want me to, just put that down in the comments section and let's get started writing some code. So I'm just going to start with a simple print, and I'm just going to print a variable. And I haven't even assigned this variable. And you're probably like, well, this person's an idiot. I'm going to go find someone else with some credentials. So I'm going to now run this terrible code that I wrote. And we're going to see, oh, we got an error. X isn't defined. Well, that's probably because X is not defined. Now we can actually make it so that we don't get these errors. So there's this thing called the try and except block in Python, which basically will handle an exception instead of stopping when you have an error in your program. So we can say try, and this just needs to be tabbed. And then we can say, try that, and then except, we can print variable is not defined, because a variable x there is not defined. Except, did I put that really? Too broad. Okay, whatever. So here we go. Instead of stopping this code from running, it gives our little message that says variable is not defined. And to prove, I'll print out some math or something. Okay, to prove that this code is still running, it prints out 4 right after this. Okay, so now the reason that it's giving us this, oh, your exception is too broad, is because, let me just run this real quick. I know it's going to give me an error. That's not the error I expected. Just going to go back to the print x. Okay, x is not defined. What type of error? That's a name error. So we can say try print x, and then we have our except. Instead of just saying except, we can say except name error. We can print variable isn't defined, and I can put my quotation marks around that because that is indeed a string. Now I'm just going to delete that one, delete some of these spaces, and let's try it. And yeah, it just says variable isn't defined. Now, let's say we did 4 divided by 0. Or we'll print 4 divided by 0. Okay, so as you know, what? Oh, that should not be working. Let's just put that right there and see what that does. Okay, so as you know, we cannot divide, or I'll just stick it in my try right there. Okay, so as you know, we cannot define by 0. So I need to put this above my print x, 4 divided by 0. Okay, let's run it. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so basically what happens is it still is giving us an error for division by 0 because we're not throwing, we're just throwing the exception for name error, and that's not a name error. So what we can also do is we can just add another except, and this is like a blanket exception. Like, this covers any exceptions. Like, we could have a casting, a parsing, a whatever type of exception, and it would be covered. So I'll just say print, I'll just say an error, if I could spell, that would be nice, has occurred. And it just says an error has occurred. And also, it's running these things like sequentially. So it's running the 4 divided by 0 before the print x. So basically what happens is it just hits this, and then it prints out that exception. So we can have multiple of these excepts. So like when we have except name error, we can do, what is it? Division. I'm just gonna put this right up here real quick so I can copy what that error is. Yes, 0 division error. I'm just gonna copy this down here and paste it right in there. So I can say for that 0 division error. Delete this. And and it says an error has occurred. Okay, so also at the end of this, we can use a finally block. And what a finally block does is it's executed if the try block raises an error or not. So like print, I don't know, the try, if I could spell again, that'd be great. The try except statement is finished. Whatever, close enough. And now it's going to raise those exceptions, but actually I even typed that in wrong. Now it's still going to raise those exceptions, but now when this code is all done, it prints this, that the try except statement is finished. Because what this finally does is it goes through like everything that's happened, and then it always prints this. So this finally statement is executed regardless of our accepts. So like even if we had no errors and we said print hello world, okay, and I'll just run this, and yeah, the try except statement is still finished, and I mean the finally statement is still executed because this statement is always going to be executed, and it prints out our hello world statement. So if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to throw an exception if like a condition occurs. Like we purposely want to create an exception. Let's say if we have a number let's assign x equal to 11. And let's say if x is greater than 10, we want to learn how to spell. We want to raise an exception, and let's say this says number is greater than 10. Okay. Or we can actually, no, I guess a more accurate one would be no numbers greater than 10 allowed. There we go. Okay. So, we literally are giving or we have raised our exception to say sorry. So basically we can force our program into an error. And I guess why we might want to do this is, let's say, I don't know, maybe we have a program, and if we give it a negative number, it will not do our calculations correctly. Well, maybe then we want to throw an exception to our program so that our program crashes. Also, I guess I didn't really explain, but why we'd use a try except statement. But when I usually find myself using these is when you're asking for user input, particularly strings and integers. Or yeah. So like if you want to add two numbers together and maybe you get a string instead of an integer, what I then say is if you get like a casting error or something, or a type error, something like that, then instead of just crashing your whole entire program, your program will continue to run, and you can just ask the user to enter some other type of value. And another good, I guess this wasn't a good example, but if you're like me and you find yourself writing some really bad code and you have a homework assignment and you got the code in there, you don't know what the code does, it's not working, and you can just throw a try except statement in there, code stays right in there, code keeps on running. Bam. See, now whenever you write some bad code, just throw in a try except statement. I'm kidding, you obviously should never do that, but so anyway, this I guess is going to be the end of the Python videos. So if you've made it this far, thank you. I appreciate it. And you could literally be doing anything else right now, but you decided to watch this video, and I thank you for that. And hopefully you got something out of it.